Hey folks, it's Jim. Wanted to do this video. This isn't economics advice, financial advice, or advice of any kind. Please seek out the professional advice that is right for you and all your affairs. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Folks, one thing I think people are forgetting is that we have paid farmers for 20 years not to grow. Okay, why? Because we were in a period of globalization and we wanted to share the wealth with other countries and help them grow. Well, now we're in a period of deglobalization. So we've been paying farmers not to grow wheat and other grains for a long time, okay? So that we can allow other nations to prosper. And now, as you see, we are in a period of deglobalization. So now, if they pull that money, farmers are going to start growing again, and they may be incentivized to grow. Okay, we may fund the growth so that we can flood the world with grains, possibly. Remember something else. Wheat is a weed, basically. It can almost be grown anywhere. Okay, tear up the soil, plant your seeds, and watch that weed grow. Okay, and wheat's one of the few things that really doesn't require any fertilizer. It just requires some soil prep and get on with it. Also, one more thing I wanted to make sure you understand. 83% of U.S. agriculture is potash comes from Canada. We can jack that to 90 probably easily. And we have our own potash too that we just don't tap. Okay? So think about that as well. Now people are telling me, well, Jim, we don't have any nitrogen. Well, gee, how much natural gas do we put out? Maybe we're one of the largest producers of natural gas. Do you think maybe we can make nitrogen? What do you think? And a lot of it, maybe more than anybody else in the world, whenever we want. Okay? So please, folks, I know it's stress out there and you're hearing a lot of stuff. Bang, bang, bang. But that's why these people are trying to sell you crap. Because they're not smart enough to see the macro perspective, look down on the whole daggum thing. In and of itself, what is it? Who runs us, man? The global elite. I'm not talking Bezos, Buffett, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, anybody you've heard of. The elite I'm talking about are multi-trillionaires, man. They control the world. And they control the West. And Putin threw them out of there over 8 years ago. And that's why Putin's headed into the trouble he's headed into. Other than demographics, which if you want to learn more about Russian struggles, Peter Zeihan, Zeihan. Again, Peter Zeihan, Zeihan. Okay, I think his channel is Geopolitics or something like that. He is a great statistical analytics person, and he will give you good ideas about China and Russia and the struggles that they face going forward. And he will also help to reiterate what I'm sharing with you. The U.S. was turned to a service economy. We used to be the number one exporter of many, many things. And we were turned to a service economy during globalization phase to allow other countries to prosper. Well, now everything's coming home, folks. And they're going to take the cap off of growing in the U.S. And we will once again become the world's largest food exporter. Quite rapidly, I might add. Okay? It's not, we may have a year of delay, lag, but then the pumps will be primed and off we go again. Okay? And it's going to be necessary. There's going to be a lot of African nations that are going to struggle during this grain shortage, possibly, if we have a grain shortage this year, which I can pretty much agree with you that we will, short term, okay? And then if we don't go to World War III and nuclear bombs, okay, all over the place, the U.S. is just going to simply jack up the output. Why? Because we paid farmers not to. That's why. Now we're going to say, go ahead, put it out. Okay? And when that happens, folks, watch out. The U.S. will once again dominate the global food supply chain. Okay? And that's not good for the world either, because that means one country is now relied on to feed many. And that's not a good thing either. So deglobalization is not necessarily great either. But globalization allowed many nations to get an economic foothold in the world and participate and elevate their standard of living. Okay, so let's hope that we don't flood the entire world with grains, and I don't think we're going to do that because they want to keep grains profitable. Okay, so this is another perspective, and I know it's counter to what you're hearing out there, but please know and understand that in and of itself, what is it? How long have we paid farmers not to grow? You know this, people. You know we have paid farmers not to grow food, haven't we? You bet. They were incentivized from federal payments not to grow. So do you think we can turn up the juice and grow more? I think we can, don't you? Now, these are the reason why I'm doing this video is people are fear and panic and mortgaging their future on an event that may never come. The U.S., there's never been a country like the U.S. who has the energy infrastructure, the manpower, the agriculture, the land, okay, the soil, the water, everything it needs. We can close ourselves off from the world as we once did and produce everything we need from within. Okay? Will it take some time? Absolutely. But for food, I don't think there's any other country in the world that can grow food like we can. Okay? Because of the water. You got to know that. Part of the whole Ukraine thing from Russia's perspective is that river in there. And that's why I want you to listen to Peter Zeihan so you can get a better understanding of why the countries are doing what they're doing around the world, why we're in this time of post-globalization to deglobalization, and why it's creating some major stress on certain countries that thought they were just going to take over the world. Okay? And I'm going to do a video on the U.S. debt, how the way you look at it is fine, but I'm going to show you why the global elites look at the U.S. debt from a different perspective and why even there, maybe it's not a big deal, okay? So I'll do that next. But first I wanted to get this out. Do you even know how much your government pays farmers not to grow wheat? Do you know that? Okay, that's what I wanted to get out. And at any time, they can take the cap off this and let it fly. And right now, wheat's at a really good price. So how many farmers do you think will forego the incentives not to grow and start growing because the profits will be greater than the incentive not to? Okay, so I wanted to get that out as well. And remember, wheat is almost a weed. Okay, it doesn't take a lot to grow wheat. It certainly doesn't take any fertilizer. You know, wheat is a very, I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. You know, I'm not too worried about the U.S. for food unless we're in World War III and nukes are flying all over the place. But in that case, our plans have to be totally different anyway, don't they? So that's why we are preppers and we are prepared. But I wanted to make sure you know and understand that. We pay farmers not to farm. Can you imagine if we stopped doing that? How much food this country can produce quite quickly, I might add. And we can produce we make so much natural gas, we can make all the nitrogen and neon gas we will ever need. We could flood the world with it and collapse the price if we wanted to. But we've allowed other countries to prosper. And that's what we've done. So don't think for a minute that most of this hasn't been planned. Remember the 100,000 IRS agents Biden hired as soon as he got in office. Do you think they may have known this was coming? That they were going to collapse the markets? And when everybody sold out, they were going to collect their money. You bet. It's always a transfer of wealth, folks. And we have to see it from the macro perspective. And with that is the Macro Compass by Alfonso Peccatello. Okay, the Macro Compass. Type that in on your browser, not on YouTube. You can on YouTube, but type it in on your browser and you can get to his free newsletter. And he's a great macro statistical analytics person, and he shares the information, what he sees as he gathers it. He makes his own money through investing, so he doesn't care about you paying him. So there's a good source for you to see a macro picture if you're struggling with seeing a macro picture. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Remember, we pay farmers for 20 years not to grow. So do you think the U.S. can possibly grow a lot of food if we want to? Jim out.